All right, and moving on, following Ukrainian strikes deep into Russia, Moscow has warned Western nations that it is prepared to use nuclear weapons if the West attempts to invade Russian territory. Now, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov has said that an attack on Russia's territorial integrity could lead to a nuclear response in the worst-case scenario. Now, he added that Moscow's adversary should not test its resolve to defend itself with all the means at its disposal. Speaking on the sidelines of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, Ryabkov said that Russia would continue its special operation in Ukraine as long as necessary, signaling that the intensified attacks on Ukraine would continue in the coming days. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also warned of a growing escalation risk as the Ukrainian military becomes more adept at striking deep inside Russian territory.
That's been the one dynamic that's changed in the last few months is Ukraine has become increasingly effective at conducting long-range strikes deep into Russia and deep against critical nodes of the Russian economy. And I think one of the things that reminds us of why it's important to try to bring this war to an end if we can, because the risk of escalation is real, more real than it was 2 years ago.
Well, on the ground, Ukraine continues to hit back, responding to a wave of recent intense strikes by Russia. In the latest, 3 people have been killed and 7 others injured in a Ukrainian strike in Russian-occupied Crimea. Russia also accused Ukraine of killing 8 civilians and wounding 11 more in a drone attack. And this was on a passenger bus in the Russian-controlled part of the Donetsk region in eastern Ukraine. And this is the exact moment when the drone hit passenger bus, leading to a large explosion. On Wednesday, Ukrainian drones hit an oil complex and military base in St. Petersburg as ministers and officials gathered for a flagship economic forum in the city. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called the strikes fair retaliation for Russia's bombardment of Ukraine. Meanwhile, EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas has said that Ukrainian drone strikes inside Russia, they're causing panic for the Kremlin as Moscow responds with increased attacks on Kyiv. Listen to this.
It clearly shows also panic on Russian side. Why they are increasing the terrorist attacks that they're doing in Ukraine is because they don't know what to do with these things. Why they have turned off the internet and all this access to information for the regular Russians is because, you know, otherwise they would also see what is going on. And that is, of course, posing some very serious questions to Putin and its regime.
Furthermore, in a major boost to Ukraine, the EU has agreed to move Ukraine to the next stage in its membership bid. And this as diplomats said that Hungary signaled it was dropping its long-standing veto against Kyiv. Since Orban's ouster in April, Hungary's new Prime Minister, Peter Magyar, has suggested that he would be happy to move forward on Ukraine's accession.